with a cloud native solution. I am Jeff Ridds. I am the global segment leader for data warehouse, lake, and application modernization at Informatica. I'm joined today by Michael Goltz, who's the director of the cloud sales specialist at Informatica. A little bit of background noise, so we may trying to mute some of those. Thank you. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We have a half hour today. The three primary challenges that Informatica is helping customers address in cloud data warehouse and cloud data lake type of projects are number one, cost overruns. It's interesting, sometimes I'll talk with my customers, and if they're new to moving to the cloud, they'll say, Jeff, we're moving to the cloud because we want to save money. And then the customers that have been there for a couple of years, they're the ones pulling their hair out saying, Jeff, we've been there for a couple of years. We need you to help us control our costs because we're blowing out our budget. And so we'll talk a little bit about how Informatica is helping with that challenge. And the second one that we see are resource constraints. I can't remember the last time a customer told me, hey, Jeff, I've got more resources than I know what to do with. Got all this headcount. I got more headcount than I'd ever need, and no problem filling it. We've got developers just sitting around waiting for projects. That's not really reality in 2021. So Informatica is helping organizations address these resource constraints. And then finally, complexity. The complexity of these technical environments is creating problems with operationalization. It's one thing to develop the pilot project. It's a whole other to get it into production and bet your business on it. So these are the three areas that Michael and I are going to talk to you about today. And what I would like to do is kind of jump into the first problem here that we're kind of showing the statistic on the left from Cloud Cost Management LLC. 80% of organizations overshoot their cloud budgets due to ineffective cloud cost management. This is actually a slightly different statistic than we just showed you. We're just showing you multiple places that, hey, this is what we're seeing in the market. And the challenges are difficulty in managing the compute costs, lack of control of users and usage. I think the big one is this third bullet here, easy access to add more compute. If you give people unlimited processing power to turn data into information, and they need information to do their job well, it turns out they're going to use a lot of that processing.
Sorry.
So the solution here is Informatica's optimization engine. But before I want to get into the optimization engine, I want to talk a little bit about where Informatica fits in the old world, where Informatica fits in the new world. And Alyssa, you should have the power to mute people if you can kind of get people muted here. Appreciate that. So in the old world, and when everything was running on premises, we had sources like mainframes and applications and databases, and you would need to connect to them, and then you would process that data on an ETL runtime engine before loading the processed data into an on-premises data warehouse appliance like Teradata or Netezza or something from Oracle. And Informatica had a pretty big role to play in the old world, right? We provided these high-performance connectors to the sources. We had a proprietary and highly performant ETL runtime engine. We would use that ETL runtime engine to load into the on-premises data warehouse. And because we were metadata driven, we fit very well into a software development lifecycle. And we offered this low code, no code development experience, which can help bring more developers into the fold. And then the world changed. And then everybody went to the cloud, right? And the number of sources that we had blew up. Now we've got software as a service applications. We've got real-time and streaming sources, maybe something that we would get from IoT, for example. So we still need connectivity, but now instead of connecting to data and moving that data to a highly performant ETL engine, the new paradigm is ELT. What we're going to do is we're going to load that data into a cloud data warehouse. We're going to load it into a cloud data lake, and we're going to use those technologies to process the data. So if that means that we really don't need a lot of this highly performant ETL engine because we're doing more ELT, the question may become, does Informatica still have a role to play? And the answer is absolutely. So we're still providing those highly performant metadata aware connectors. Only now, when that data is acquired, rather than moving it to a proprietary ETL engine, what we're going to do is load it into that cloud data warehouse or that cloud data lake storage. And the value proposition of Informatica is our optimization engine. Our optimization engine says, what's the best and most cost-effective way to process this data? Because sometimes it's using that highly performant ETL engine. Oftentimes it's using a Spark cluster, but more often than not, it's pushing the work down to the cloud ecosystem or the cloud data warehouse itself. And what that's going to do is make more efficient use of infrastructure and ultimately lower data processing costs because we're using the right tool for the right job. And because we remain metadata driven, it's our cloud native solution now that's metadata driven as opposed to our on-premises technologies. But because we remain metadata driven, we fit very well into a software development lifecycle and a data ops strategy for continuous innovation and deployment. We've still got that low code, no code pipeline development and user experience. And we've actually expanded our metadata offering, and we now have Claire. Claire is our branding for how Informatica uses AI and ML to make intelligent recommendations and help you do things better, faster, cheaper. And so this is where Informatica fits in the new cloud ecosystem. And when we get into that cloud ecosystem, two of the costs that are contributing to customers blowing out their budgets are the data transfer costs. Oftentimes there's charges involved with getting data out of the cloud data warehouse or cloud, wherever you're putting your data in the cloud, oftentimes there's going to be a fee to get that data out. Sometimes there's even processing charges involved with getting the data in, even though there's not an explicit fee. And then there's also the concept of compute hours. All of this technology, serverless or not, is going to run on some amount of hardware. And the amount of hardware you run on for the amount of time you run that hardware doing your processing ultimately affects how much money you are going to pay for the service that you're using to do the processing. And so while many technologies will just use Spark to do all of that processing, Informatica uses Spark, actually a faster version of Spark. We've made some innovations and enhancements on top of open source Spark, but we've also got the ability to push that work down to the cloud ecosystem. We have the ability to push that work down to a cloud data warehouse or even process on the traditional ETL engine. So what ends up happening here is that Informatica is basically spreading the costs out between Informatica and other vendors, trying to help you maximize the value you get out of your investment in the cloud ecosystems and in the cloud data warehouse. And to be clear, this is a demonstrative slide. There's not so many buckets of money for us versus so many buckets of money for someone else. The point is that if you use a Spark only approach, what you're doing is you're spending a lot more money than you need to, because there's many instances where you can push that work down rather than spinning up a large Spark cluster that contains a lot of hardware. And so our approach to use the optimization engine to send the work to the most cost-effective option is one of our differentiating value propositions. There are companies that compete with Informatica that'll do pushdown. There's companies that compete with Informatica that'll do Spark, and there's some that compete with Informatica that does ETL. But nobody that I'm aware of is doing all of these things, right? We're going golfing, we got a bag full of golf clubs, rather than making you pick between a driver, a putter, and a sand wedge. We figure we're probably going to need all the clubs in our bag. And because Informatica has shifted our licensing model, we are now on a usage-based licensing model where you make an investment in Informatica processing units, and then those IPUs are available for whatever service you want to use. You are effectively only paying for what you use. So while you have the ability to do traditional ETL, you have the ability to do Spark processing, you have the ability to do push down to the ecosystem or the database, you have the ability to invoke cloud data quality. If you're not using any of those services, you don't have to pay for them. And if you just use it a little bit, because there's just one tiny use case that's absolutely perfect for that piece of Informatica functionality, then you only have to pay a price that's commensurate with your usage. So when we talk about all this functionality we have, and we talk about the different engines that we can use to help you control your processing costs, we're not trying to build a large bill of materials. We're offering you the flexibility to use the right tool for the right job and only pay for what you use. And so that's how Informatica, at least some of the ways that Informatica are addressing that first problem of cost overruns and blowing out cloud budgets. I'd like to invite Michael to talk to you a little bit more about how Informatica is addressing the resource constraint problem. Michael?
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, so as Jeff said, problem number 2 we see with our customers in the market is really around resource constraints. We all know we're in dynamic business environments. IT has a higher demand to deliver business value based on projects that are being brought forth and the complexity that's coming into play with the various new sources and requirements. It's been a challenge for organizations to find the right talent and the amount of talent to support these initiatives. And specifically, my team of specialists and A's in the field, what we're hearing from our customers is a lot of customers, there's not enough resources, and or there's 2 or more resources they need for every single job. There's difficulty in finding the specialized skills, lack of automation in the tools they're using if they're not using Informatica, and really lack of tools and functionality to support the non-technical and quasi-technical users that are within the organization. The Informatica advantage and the solution that we're bringing to the market on the platform is really around self-service, the bundles that are pre-built to support different initiatives on the platform, templates, wizard-driven building of ingestion patterns as an example, as well as the intelligent automation that's built into the platform. Just an example here, I mean, you think about what it takes in order to generate Spark code, or really code Spark in order to do a simple query of what's our sales by geography for every month in the financial year. If you're not using Informatica, someone's writing this code. With Informatica, we're shielding the users from this complexity and allowing them to basically configure all through drag and drop in a UI. Jeffrey, build that.
Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. So, very similar for the folks that are on the phone, leveraging PowerCenter. We have a design environment on the iPaaS platform, drag and drop, no code, all configuration, pre-built transformations and functionality to support what organizations need to do in real time. With the UI, bottom line, it's less code. It's all about configuration versus the time it takes and the effort required, as well as the specialized resources to write Spark code specifically for it to run properly without our engine. When you look at the platform and we talk about our ability to support different users in the organization based on their experience and their skill set, we have purpose-built UIs to support non-technical, technical developers, quasi-technical people like myself, really things to help accelerate time to value, increase the ease of use, as well as all while supporting the complex scenarios that organizations are needing to build out while shielding the individual users from that complexity. Through the UI, through the purpose-built wizards, we have operational dashboards to monitor everything that's going on within the platform. We're supporting different types of users in the organization that have their own needs or being requested to build out scenarios to support and drive business value. The value of Informatica is all this is delivered in one common platform for these individuals to take advantage of. Also, accelerating time to value and getting started quickly. With our platform, we're providing serverless options. So the days of having to go and get permissions, provision VMs, get a secure agent installed, which is the execution engine of IICS, having to spin up whatever resources are required by an IT group versus our modern approach of bringing serverless options to the table. Everything is provisioned and ready for users to take advantage of if they have the proper permissions within the organization. And on the platform, there's highly available compute and execution engines available for the organization to build out and that user to build out their jobs in real time based on the requirements that are in front of them. Talk about accelerators. So, when you look at even simple examples like building type 2 data warehousing scenarios and going through and building simple things like I want to take data that's on-prem and ingest it into the cloud. Again, we have 4-step wizards to support files, databases, as well as streaming ingestion. We're bringing application ingestion into that as well here shortly. There's pre-built templates and bundles for the user to take advantage of in order to quickly solve for the requirements that are in front of them. Another advantage on the platform is the concept of develop once and take advantage of it in multiple places. Everything that is built can be leveraged by other users in the organization. It can also be used by that same user for different scenarios. There's a lot of cases where we find integrations have the same logic in the mapping itself, but the variables are the sources and targets. The opportunity to parameterize those mappings helps solve for these initiatives on the platform. All right, when you look at what it takes to build out an integration, and going back to the whole concept of configuration versus code, Informatica is providing our customers a unique opportunity to take advantage of the AI engine that's Claire that's built into the platform, providing suggestions into how to configure the assets to meet the needs of the business. Also, going through and natively ingesting different file formats, building those mappings once, reusing them. All these things are operational efficiencies above what anything, in essence, other than Informatica brings to the market. When you think about hand coding and other tools without the automation, the templates, the having to start from scratch on every single asset that's built, even if you're doing the same thing over and over. Think about an ingestion job where you have multiple files on premise that you need to bring into the cloud ecosystem. The days of manually building a mapping for each one of those objects, those are long gone with Informatica. It's all about automating that process through a wizard-based approach and solving for the requirements and delivering business value in minutes rather than days.
Thanks, Michael. I think that's helpful. You want to talk people through problem 3, the complexity?
Yeah, so next problem we see a lot of is really around complexity with the technology and operationalization of what they're doing. A lot of AI projects, really there's individuals within the organization, they are the ones who know everything about what was built, the models that were built, but it's not scalable. We're hearing specifically from customers that there's disjointed tools that simply don't work together. They're lacking integrations into ML tools like SageMaker, Azure ML, et cetera. Development to production is costly and it's a hard task. Cloud and on-prem deployments don't interoperate. They're not able to leverage and take advantage of what they've already built historically on-prem and bring that into their modern world of a cloud and hybrid ecosystem. And of course, they're constantly evaluating new technologies. As we know, we're in dynamic business environment with incremental requirements that are coming up all the time. The unique opportunity and the solution Informatica is bringing to our customers is a single comprehensive platform, support for multi-cloud, on-premise integrated data quality, hybrid environments. It's end-to-end data management as a function of the connectivity on one platform itself. All right, when we talk about this end-to-end data management, the unique again, a unique opportunity and value proposition Informatica is bringing is one platform to solve for everything from ingestion, engineering, application modernization, data integration, push-down optimization, data quality, everything across. When you look at what Informatica does and boil it down into all of the 5 quadrants that Gartner rates us in, we are the undisputed industry leader when it comes to those individual technologies. And we're bringing those functionalities onto one common platform for our customers to take advantage of. Then even beyond just the technology, when you look at the commercial aspect of it with the new IPU model that Jeff mentioned, we're providing customers with all of the connectors, the ability to deploy as much compute as they need. All of the services are available for the organizations to leverage, and we give you the option to take advantage of those functionality, which are presented as microservices on the platform when you need them in real time, and only basically consume IPUs based on the actual work that was done. Okay, when we look at the deployment, we talk about cloud. It's a little bit misleading with our cloud integration platform and iPaaS, and it's misleading in the sense that we're not just supporting cloud only. We're supporting single cloud architectures, multi-cloud where customers have things in AWS, Google, Azure, et cetera. Hybrid cloud where there's things that will remain on premise for a period of time, as well as adopting new cloud technologies like Snowflake. And even for organizations where they're not moving into the cloud and they have their legacy systems that remain in place on premise, but they need a better way to solve for these things, delivering business value more quickly, easily. That's the value of the Informatica platform, solving for all these scenarios with end-to-end data management, again, as a function of the integration itself that's offered. Go ahead, Jeff. Okay, now, when we talk about bringing data management as a function of the integration, a prime example of this is data quality. Historically, Informatica provided data quality on premise. We've now brought the industry-leading technology and functionality and made it natively available to the iPaaS platform itself. And what we're seeing is even just people that are building out integrations are needing to solve for things like profiling their data, understanding the data that they're looking to bring into the cloud ecosystem or load their data warehouse with, standardize that data, ensuring that the data that's brought in is clean, trusted, and actionable. There's not multiple versions of a single thing like the KitKat example, or defining all 3 of North Central, Midwest, and Great Lakes as the central territory, or however you're looking to classify that. Parsing that data and looking at information that's being loaded and putting it into a column or format so that it can be leveraged in structure as it's being loaded. Fuzzy lookups and matches, leveraging our proprietary technology in order to identify and create matches to ensure that data is being loaded correctly, and again, it's actionable and trusted. Validating and enriching data, so looking at data that's coming in, ensuring what is in that load is what is expected, and if not, taking action on it to route that data to the proper person to review it in that case, as well as enriching the data. So beyond just standardizing it and ensuring it's correct, in the example there, leveraging our data as a service functionality to bring in geocoding to ensure we have a more complete understanding of an address and location in this case, with that longitude being appended. Okay, why data quality for business intelligence? I think this is pretty easy to understand. I mean, look on the left, if you just took the data and put it into, maybe it's Tableau for visualization, and didn't do any cleanup of it and standardizing that data. In this example, there's 3 different types of USA or United States of America. With standardization, what we're providing again is clean, actionable, trusted data that can be visualized, consumed, and leveraged within the organization without questioning whether or not it's valid and correct. Okay, going on the same theme. I mean, really, you could have the best ever data science project ever. You have, without data quality for artificial intelligence, bad data comes in, the results can't be trusted. Another unique opportunity Informatica is providing, again, is solving for that data quality as a function of the integrations to ensure that what individuals within the organization are looking at, again, is clean, actionable, trusted, can be leveraged within the company in real time. Okay, and going back on the same theme we had with integration earlier, I mean, you know, if you were going to build out Spark code, it's consuming, it's time consuming, it's not standardized, it doesn't scale. Same thing applies to data quality. You know, if you're looking to parse a product description on the left there, that's an example of the type of code that would need to be written, and quite frankly, written correctly to be done once. You know, verify email in the middle, standardize the country. We take the same concepts that we have in integration and move you from coding into scenarios where it's all configuration. These are just transformations that are drag and dropped right into the integration asset itself within the UI. You know, looking at standardizing country, leveraging business libraries and doing lookups in real time to ensure that, again, data is clean, actionable, and trusted. Go ahead, Jeff. Thank you. So also looking at our data ops. So Informatica is providing a solution for continuous integration, allowing our customers to take advantage of metadata-driven integration, fully automated DevOps. We have out-of-the-box integrations with version control tools like GitHub and different repositories. Also supporting continuous delivery, so different modes of data delivery based on the type of user that's on the platform. We're moving beyond just UIs, but also providing automation to support the users of the platform with what they need when they need it, based on what we know about these folks. Reusable templates and dynamic mappings. Everything is available for the customers that are leveraging Informatica. An important thing to note, this is agnostic from whatever ecosystem you're leveraging. It gives an opportunity for you as a customer to take advantage of the platform and solve for end-to-end data management and end data integration in a standardized way, regardless of sources and targets. When we talk about continuous operations, really taking advantage of our operational analytics, Claire's providing self-healing, auto-tuning, and scaling opportunities to ensure that our customers are getting the most optimized experience while solving for their requirements.
Thank you, Michael. Kind of wrapping up in the last minute that we have here. So Informatica is addressing current customers with these problems. There's up to a 70% reduction in ETL processing time. Resource constraints, we're improving productivity, and with the complexity, improving data quality outcomes, as well as the ability to operationalize. And we're doing this from the intelligent data management cloud, the industry's first intelligent data management cloud, because it's not just the integration capabilities that exist on Informatica's cloud native platform, but the catalog, the governance, the master data management, the whole suite of data management capabilities are available as cloud native services from the same platform. And it is a robust, mature, secure multi-cloud platform. We're doing 19 trillion transactions a month. You can see in the middle there, we've got all the security certifications. We're applicable in all the different environments. So this is not something new. This is something that's very mature, secure, and robust. From the leader in 5 different Gartner Magic Quadrants, where we retain our leadership position year after year. And so what I wanted to close with here is a little bit of a teaser for the next session here, which is the best way to modernize from PowerCenter to the cloud. So Informatica does have a program, not to steal our thunder from next time, but we've got a program. It's got financial incentives. It's got technical capabilities. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how we can leverage what you've already built in PowerCenter, start using a new cloud data warehouse, how we modernize PowerCenter, and what incentives exist to do so. So we hope to see you again at that next session. And thank you so much for your attendance today.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.